Catholicism is one of the most influential religions in the world, shaping cultures, traditions, and societies across continents. But how did it take root in different countries? In this video, we'll explore the unique journey of Catholicism in four very different nations: the United States, the Philippines, South Korea, and Brazil. Each of these countries has a distinct story, some introduced to the faith through missionaries, others through colonization, intellectual movements, or even underground believers who risked everything to practice their religion. From the Spanish missions in America to the deeply embedded Catholic traditions of the Philippines, from secret gatherings in Korea to the dynamic and diverse Catholicism of Brazil, each journey reveals how faith adapts, evolves, and influences the world around it. So how did Catholicism arrive in these nations? How did it shape their societies? And how has it changed over time? Let's dive into the history of Catholicism around the world. The United States is often seen as a predominantly Protestant nation, but Catholicism has played a significant role in shaping its history and culture. Today, with over 60 million Catholics, the faith is one of the largest religious traditions in the country. But how did Catholicism arrive in the U.S.? And how did it grow despite early challenges? The story begins in the 16th century when Spanish explorers and missionaries brought Catholicism to what is now Florida, Texas, California, and New Mexico. The oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the U.S., St. Augustine, Florida, was founded in 1565 by the Spanish, complete with a Catholic mission. These missions weren't just places of worship, they were also centers of education, agriculture, and community life, helping to shape the culture of the region. Meanwhile, French missionaries spread Catholicism in the Great Lakes and Mississippi River regions, working closely with Native American tribes. Unlike the Spanish approach, which was more structured around colonial settlements, the French missionaries focused on building relationships through trade and cultural exchange, leading to a lasting Catholic presence in areas like Louisiana and parts of Canada. Despite these early Catholic influences, the British-controlled American colonies were largely Protestant and, in some cases, openly hostile toward Catholics. One exception was Maryland, founded in 1634 as a haven for English Catholics. However, religious tensions eventually led to restrictions on Catholic worship, reflecting broader challenges Catholics faced in early America. Everything changed in the 19th and early 20th centuries when millions of Catholic immigrants arrived from Ireland, Italy, Germany, and later Latin America. They built churches, schools, hospitals, and universities, establishing Catholicism as a major force in American society. Over time, Catholics became leaders in politics, business, and social movements, shaping the nation in profound ways. Today, Catholicism remains a cornerstone of religious life in the United States, with diverse communities and traditions that continue to evolve. From the Spanish missions of the 1500s to the vibrant parishes of today, the Catholic faith has left an undeniable mark on American history. Next, we travel to the Philippines, a nation where Catholicism became deeply intertwined with national identity and cultural traditions. When it comes to Catholicism in Asia, no country embraces the faith quite like the Philippines. With over 80% of its population identifying as Catholic, the country is home to some of the most vibrant religious traditions in the world. But how did Catholicism become so deeply woven into Filipino identity? The answer lies in history, faith, and cultural transformation. The story begins in 1521, when Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines under the Spanish flag. Along with his crew were Catholic missionaries who introduced the faith to the local population. It was during this time that the first recorded Catholic Mass and baptism took place. One of the earliest converts was Raja Humabon, a local ruler who, along with his wife and followers, embraced Christianity. As a symbol of their newfound faith, Magellan gifted them the famous image of the Santo Niño, which remains one of the most revered religious icons in the country today. Although Magellan's journey was cut short after a conflict with the warrior Lapu-Lapu, Spain's efforts to spread Catholicism in the Philippines continued. In 1565, Miguel López de Legazpi established the first permanent Spanish settlement, and from there, the Catholic faith flourished. Spanish missionaries built churches, schools, and hospitals, laying the foundation for a faith that would become central to Filipino society. Over time, Catholicism blended with Filipino culture, creating a unique expression of the faith. Indigenous traditions and Spanish Catholic practices merged, leading to the rich religious festivals like Sinulog, Ati-Atihan, and Pahiyas that are celebrated with music, dance, and deep devotion. The practice of Simbang Gabi, a 9-day series of dawn masses before Christmas, is another cherished tradition that showcases the Filipino people's strong spiritual commitment. Beyond religious rituals, Catholicism also played a role in shaping the country's history. During the Spanish era, Filipino priests and reformers, such as Father Jose Burgos, fought for greater equality within the church. Later, Catholic figures like Jaime Cardinal Sin would play a major role in the People Power Revolution of 1986, which restored democracy in the country. Today, Catholicism continues to be a guiding force in the Philippines, influencing everything from family values to national celebrations. The country has also produced its own saints, such as Saint Lorenzo Ruiz and Saint Pedro Calungsod, whose stories of faith and sacrifice inspire millions. As the world changes, so does the church, adapting to modern challenges while remaining a pillar of Filipino life. Whether in grand cathedrals or small barrio chapels, the Catholic faith in the Philippines is a testament to its deep roots and enduring strength. From the Philippines, our journey now takes us to South Korea, where Catholicism emerged in an entirely different way, through books, secret gatherings, and perseverance in the face of persecution. When we think of Catholicism in South Korea today, we see a vibrant and growing faith, one that has played a significant role in the country's religious and cultural landscape. But unlike many nations where Catholicism was introduced by foreign missionaries, Korea's Catholic roots began in a unique way, through books, intellectual curiosity, and a homegrown movement of believers. The story begins in the 17th and 18th centuries, when Korean scholars encountered Catholic teachings through books brought from China. These scholars, part of a movement called Silhak, were searching for new ideas beyond traditional Confucianism. Among the works they studied were texts written by Jesuit missionaries, which introduced them to Catholic beliefs, including the concept of a single God and the idea of human dignity. By the late 18th century, some Korean scholars took a bold step. They began practicing Catholicism on their own, even before meeting a priest. In 1784, Yi Sung-hun became the first Korean to be baptized in Beijing and returned home to share his newfound faith. This marked the beginning of the Catholic Church in Korea, built not by foreign missionaries but by the Korean people themselves. However, Catholicism faced challenges in a society deeply rooted in Confucian traditions. The rejection of ancestor worship, which was central to Korean culture, led to tensions with the ruling class. As a result, the early Catholic community endured periods of persecution, particularly in the 19th century. Despite these hardships, the faith continued to grow, sustained by the dedication of its believers. By the late 19th century, Korea opened its doors to the world, and Catholic missionaries were finally allowed to enter. The church played a key role in education and social work, establishing schools, hospitals, and charitable institutions that benefited many Koreans. After the Korean War, Catholicism experienced even greater growth, attracting many followers, including influential figures in politics, human rights, and social movements. Today, Catholicism is one of the major religions in South Korea, with over 10% of the population identifying as Catholic. The faith continues to thrive, blending traditional Korean values with Christian teachings. Notably, Korea has also given the global church its own saints, such as Saint Andrew Kim Taegon, the country's first native priest who was martyred for his faith. From an intellectual movement to a thriving religious community, the journey of Catholicism in Korea is a testament to faith, resilience, and cultural transformation. Now let's head to Brazil, a nation where Catholicism arrived through colonization but evolved into one of the most vibrant expressions of the faith in the world. Brazil is home to the largest Catholic population in the world, with over 120 million Catholics. But Catholicism in Brazil is more than just a religion. It is deeply woven into the country's culture, traditions, and national identity. From grand colonial churches to lively festivals, the Catholic faith has played a key role in shaping Brazilian society for centuries. The story begins in 1500, when Portuguese explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral arrived in Brazil. Alongside his fleet were Catholic priests who celebrated the first recorded Mass on Brazilian soil. As Portugal established its colony, Catholicism became a cornerstone of society. Missionaries built churches, founded schools, and introduced Christian teachings to indigenous communities. The church also played a role in governance, helping to shape early Brazilian society. Over time, Catholicism in Brazil blended with the country's diverse cultural influences. Indigenous traditions, African spiritual practices brought by enslaved people, and Portuguese customs merged to create a uniquely Brazilian expression of faith. This fusion is especially visible in religious festivals like Festa de Nossa Senhora Aparecida, which honors Brazil's patron saint, and Carnaval, a world-famous celebration with roots in Catholic traditions. Beyond festivals, Catholicism has contributed to Brazil's social and educational development. The Church established many of the country's first schools and hospitals, and Catholic leaders have played important roles in advocating for social justice, human rights, and democracy. One of the most iconic symbols of Catholicism in Brazil is the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro, a towering representation of faith and unity. Today, while Brazil remains a predominantly Catholic country, religious diversity is growing. Evangelical Christian movements have expanded, and many Brazilians practice a mix of Catholicism and traditional beliefs. Still, Catholicism continues to be a major influence, from the way people celebrate holidays to the values that shape communities. Brazilian Catholicism is a story of faith, adaptation, and cultural richness. It is a testament to how religion can evolve alongside a nation, embracing new influences while remaining a guiding force for millions. And with that, we conclude our journey through the origins of Catholicism in different parts of the world. Each country has its own unique story, shaped by history, culture, and the people who embrace the faith.